What's good, y'all? We are back today for a brand new video, and today we have Supergirl Infected, the Supergirl Who Laughs comic explained. Man, I did the Batman Who Laughs. I learned some more of that. You know what I'm saying? Did part 1 and part 2. Go check that out. So, anyways, I got a couple other ones that was requested for me to do. You know what I'm saying? They put them in down in the comment section down below, and I'm like, you know what? Bet I'm trying to see these infecteds. You know what I'm saying? They look crazy to me. These infecteds look crazy. I seen the thumbnail for the Supergirl. She look crazy. She like she just got done crying. But yeah, we finna do this. Y'all brand new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below, and let's get started to this video. Man, I'm ready. I love my superheroes.
Subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up, and
I love my superheroes,
like
man.
button if you enjoy the video, and yeah, let's begin.
See what y'all talking about. I love my superheroes.
Before we get this video started, a couple things.
What
A lot of
else
you guys
you
were
got?
asking about the Mad Jim Jaspers versus the Spectre video. That was supposed to be a Patreon-only video. Apparently, it was made public for some reason. So that video was taken down and then made unlisted. And so that goes to the people on Patreon, right? For those of you guys who are interested, all the uncensored videos that I have go on Patreon. All of the Versus videos that I have go on Patreon. And then what I'm also going to do is start putting my videos on Patreon ad-free, right? Like the great big huge full story videos. Those are going to get uploaded on there with no ads whatsoever, right? So I'll probably have to upload them onto a secondary channel and then post them onto Patreon. But they'll be on there like without any kind of ads at all, right? So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/comicsexplained, and take a look around. Let me know what you guys think.
Hey, go support this man.
So
put in that work.
Let's get into the video. Okay, so a lot of you guys kind of were going nuts about the idea of like Supergirl the Infected, right? You wanted to see the Supergirl the Infected story, which
she looked dope,
cool, right? The Supergirl Who Laughs, which is basically what this is, and it's pretty awesome. Here's the funny thing: I'm not really reading the Supergirl comic, and I feel like Supergirl fans.
Oh, she really looked dope, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
To get on board.
I ain't gonna lie. I like her better like this. I ain't gonna lie. She looks dope. Like okay, like if she would say like regular Supergirl, but with that outfit, she don't gotta have the eye thing. She don't gotta have things over her eyes. She don't gotta have the smile, nothing. The regular Supergirl, but that outfit, that would be so dope.
Supergirl comic, and I feel like Supergirl fans are gonna be pissed.
I don't know why I went back.
I tried to get on board and I couldn't really get into it. I had to do a little bit of kind of brushing up in order to get into this, and the reason why is because what this does is this basically picks up with Supergirl supposedly breaking free of the influence of Brainiac 1, only to find out that she's still basically being confined. Now the way this plays out is I wouldn't really say it's like the main plot so much as kind of a subplot of what was going on in Supergirl issues 34 and 35. And the idea was that Brainiac Prime, I guess we can call him, had essentially created Brainiac.
Yeah, I know him.
Of going, essentially breaking into the Fortress of Solitude, and then in turn gaining all of the knowledge on the Kryptonian databases that Brainiac had previously lost. And so the result was that in the middle of this, Lex Luthor basically appeared to Brainiac 1 and said, why share it with your master, right? Like, why do that? Instead, I can help you get unfettered access to the entirety of the Kryptonian databases, and then you can go forward as the true Brainiac, right? Just basically usurping that role. So with that being the case, of course, Brainiac broke in around the same time, but the entire conflict with Batman and Superman broke out with Donna Troy and Hawkman of Earth 3 in Batman Superman number 5. And so with that going on, with that conflict taking place, essentially Kellex, of course the robot more or less of Superman, the robot butler, Alfred kind of to a degree, ended up sounding the alarm, which brought Supergirl there. And when she encountered Brainiac 1, he immediately subdued her. And that's basically how things are playing out at the moment. Now the funny thing about this is that these are nanobots.
Hey, Loki, they should make a Supergirl movie. Did they have a Supergirl movie? I know they got the TV show on Netflix. I'm actually going to start watching that soon because I finished Arrow and stuff. I finished Call with the Flash, finished Arrow, Black Lightning. What else is there? Yeah, so soon, Supergirl.
Making their way through her body. So it's almost kind of a hypnotic state. And so it's not tried and true full control of her character. Instead, the way this goes down is because of the alarms and all the noises and everything that's going on. And what ends up happening is Brainiac actually more or less frees her. Basically says like, hey, look, like frees her and lets her go and do her thing. Because the result is that he's downloading all this information, right? So it makes sense to do that. If you were to keep her there, keep her in place, then in turn people might be looking for her, right? Because he's kind of aware of what's going on, but he's not fully aware aware of what's happening, right? So if people may come looking for her or something like that, the best thing to do is to basically let her go through the Fortress of Solitude, do what she's doing, and then continue to essentially download all this information out of Supergirl as well as the Kryptonian database, right? Let them make noise over there so that you can do what you need to do over here. And so that's the reason why Supergirl essentially jumped into the middle of the fray. Batman Superman #5. Now, what ends up transpiring here, really for a brunt of this comic, is essentially what we already saw. And that's what you sort of get into when it comes to creating comics like this, when it comes to creating these kind of tie-in comics, is oftentimes you end up running the risk of retreading. Again, like
I can't remember it
really
kind
of show what was
Hawkman
leading up to this point. But here's the funny thing about this, and here's the reason why Supergirl was put in this position, right? Because it'd be very, very easy to look at that and to say, like, why is this even a thing with Supergirl, right? Like, she's not really relevant, she's not really like the most powerful thing ever. In reality, Supergirl has kind of been a major force in DC Comics since the 1980s, right? Those of you guys, I want to sidetrack here and kind of talk about a bit of history. Those of you guys who have been around Comics Explained for a while,
I feel that punch, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Was that Supergirl was in a lot of ways just kind of the cousin and the superhero in training. You know, when she first appeared, she was thrown into backup features as part of Action Comics, I think it was, for something like 10 years. And then eventually she got Adventure Comics. But the comics were designed to mirror what was going on in the story itself, right? That she was a backup feature insofar as she was learning how to use her powers. She wasn't a full-fledged hero. When she got her own adventure series, then it was her going out into the world and becoming a hero. And it worked exceedingly well. But the overall idea behind this is that going into Crisis on Infinite Earths, Supergirl was basically the last one standing. And it was one of those things where it was kind of like,
the Crisis,
more powerful than Superman.
Crisis was
and so it was interesting to see that, because ever since then, she's proved herself to be one of those mainstay characters that fans really adore, right? The issue with that is, depending on who's writing the story, sometimes her comics are amazing, right? Other times, they're just kind of like, kind of crappy. The funny thing about this is that really, for the bulk, or really for a big chunk of time running after Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Supergirl you saw was not actually the original Kara Zor-El, right? It wasn't until the return of the multiverse that you basically got Kara back. But it is cool for what it was. But the fact remains that when this goes down, and when she's basically transformed into the Supergirl who laughs, she's immediately approached by King Shazam, right? And the idea is, how do you feel now that your powers are full?
That's Shazam? The white man look nasty. Who's that on the right? Don't tell me that can't be the Green Arrow. Nah. That's a Hawk in the back. Why should Shazam look nasty? Bro, this man got a half cape. he got a full cape, but
fully realize. This is an important thing to understand here, because what this looks like is that by becoming the Supergirl who laughs, her powers have either been amplified or she's not holding back, right? Because that was one of the big things that happened with the Superman-based characters, right? With the various Kryptonians with superpowers, right? With Superman, Superboy, with Supergirl herself, is it was always really holding their powers back. Sometimes because of mental blocks that they put in place in order to ensure they could just kind of do their thing without having to constantly focus. Other times it was simply just constantly and intentionally holding back on their powers, right? It's one of the big things that's gone on recently, is this kind of revelation that Superman has always been holding back, right? That he's never really shown people what he's fully capable of if he uses his powers to their full extent. Now, this I think are really just kind of some small phrases.
Like Thanos called his armor a little bit, but it's cool.
Doomsday Clock, like things are going to pop off with Doomsday Clock number 12. I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure, but that kind of seems to be the case here. That with her basically being this kind of unrestrained character and unbridled power, there's no more holding back, right? There's no more pulling the punches or anything like that. It's her going full on. Now, of course, the first thing she does is basically realize that there are nanobots inside of her body with regards to Brainiac 1, and that's when these memories start flooding back, right? The fact that she was the alarm in the Fortress of Solitude due to the fight between Batman, Superman, and Hawkman and Donna Troy, really the henchman of the Batman Who Laughs brought her there, right? And then ultimately she was subdued by Brainiac 1. Realizing what's going on, she basically ends up traveling back, destroys Brainiac 1, completely obliterates it. But here's the funny thing is, remember, Brainiac 1 was designed to kind of, he's not really human, but he's human-esque, right? He's got human features, right? A very human kind of personality. And so what you end up getting is this kind of thing where like he's basically begging for his life, right? Which is kind of sad to see, you know, because it's basically Supergirl being merciless. You know, she literally asks, like, what's the matter? Like, are you scared? And it's like, yes, I am. And then she totally obliterates it, right? Like, destroys Brainiac.
No mercy.
Now, here's where things get interesting, and here's where things get really intriguing. Initially, I thought she was going to hurt Krypto, right? And that was the one thing that I wanted. I was like, I don't care what you do with anybody else, but don't hurt the dog. dog. It's like the one rule that we have as human beings, right? Like, it's the people rule. Like, I remember sitting, and this is kind of an aside here, but bear with me here. It's kind of funny. I remember sitting in the trailer, sitting on YouTube and watching the trailer for the Megalodon shark movie with Jason Statham. And there's one point where the dog falls in the water, and it looks like the shark's coming after it. And the only question anybody's asking on YouTube is the dog okay? What happened to the dog? Nobody wants to see this kind little innocent dog.
I know. I feel it. I feel it.
Is because when Brainiac 1 is destroyed, and of course, you know, Krypto is more or less left okay, then essentially what Supergirl does is she kind of goes forward and says, like, with all this power that I have, why should I go back to the others? Like, why should I join this Justice League Who Laughs, the Secret Six, basically, of the Batman Who Laughs? Why should I join this group? Like, why should I take part in all their schemes and all their motivations and all those little things? Like, why not just go and just do my own thing? And that's kind of a funny scenario, because what you would expect
I like that.
Supergirl to kind of fall in line. But
She's a rebel.
Has historically always been a kind of rebellious character.
She's a rebel. I like that.
Sort of breaking away from the status quo is one of the things that made her the most intriguing. I mean, it's a really good callback to the old stories when she was in Action Comics, right? Because she would break the rules. Superman would be like, you have to stay here, and you have to basically make sure nobody knows that you're there, and do your thing. And she would sneak out and go do superhero escapades. And so it's always kind of been in line with the charter of her character that she would always kind of break the rules and sneak out and do things that she wasn't really be rebellious. I guess it was really what I'm kind of saying here. And to kind of rebel against the idea of the Batman Who Laughs and the Secret Six is intriguing, because the question becomes, what happens next, right? Like, what happens when you end up with a Supergirl who laughs facing off against Batman and Superman, who's not holding back, who's not pulling any punches? I think it's pretty cool. I think it's an awesome idea.
And that'll be lit.
What you're going to end up seeing here is a version of Supergirl who is wildly overpowered.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
She could take out both Superman and Batman. I'm curious what your all's thoughts are. Now that I say that,
I'm down for that.
Thoughts are on this. But yeah, let me know. Anyway, with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring this video to an end.
Well, that's over already.
Comments explained. Make sure you guys.
That was the fastest 10 minutes of my life.
Make sure you drop a like, and I will catch you all later.
And that was actually lit, bro. I would love to see that. No, that was actually lit right there, man. That was actually dope. I actually really enjoyed that right there, man. That was something dope. That was something dope, man. Supergirl Who Laughs. I would go see that in theaters. I ain't gonna lie. I don't see any of the laughs in theaters, man. I don't see any of them, man. But Supergirl, I ain't never really got into Supergirl like that. Like I said, I've seen her a couple of times in TV series. I've seen her in the comic a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? I read a couple of comics in my day, just a little bit. But I've seen her a few times, you know what I'm saying? So, but she dope though, man. She is dope. A female Superman. No, she's standing up for herself, man. So yeah, but anyways, that's it for this video right here. Y'all brand new to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.